Hey y'all, this is AL Think Madame. So this is the American Soul review, recap, whatever you want to go by. So it ended up showing a protest that was happening on TV. But the strange thing is that really wasn't the focal point. It was being shot in a house where a man was slapping this woman around. I don't know if it was his wife, his girlfriend, whoever she was. I'm guessing it was his wife. It was a white couple. And the man is going all the way off. He went crazy on her. And then, as I've mentioned before, Don Cornelius used to be a police officer. So he ended up like coming in the house and stopping him. And in the typical fashion of people who've been battered and abused and all that, like the dude had went in the back and got a shotgun and everything. The police officers were there. Dude did not care. And Don Cornelius ended up basically subduing him. He snatched it out of his hand and knocked him out with the little gun. And then he pointed it at him. And then his wife was like, "You ain't have to hurt him." And he went over there. She went over there. And I was just like, girl. Don Cornelius was just looking at her like, girl, you just need to get your life together. I was like, you know how it goes. So you can't even be mad at her for that. Like, people are just a product of their environment. And some people just don't know any better. They've seen it happen with their mamas and their grandmamas and all that stuff, and that is normal for them. So she doesn't know any better. So yeah. So Simone is, well, I was gonna say she was having a flashback, but like this whole episode was like a whole flashback. Because when certain things started happening, I was like, wait a minute, is this now? Or what? Because I got a little happy, and y'all will understand why. So Simone, this is a flashback. Like I said, the whole episode basically was a flashback. So we see Simone. Simone is having her 10th birthday. Y'all know Simone is like 16, 17 years old currently. And so they're at the table, and her dad is alive, and her mama presents her with this birthday cake with chocolate icing, frosting, whatever you want to call it. And, she enjoyed herself. So her dad and her brother ended up doing this performance. And I hope I'm saying it right. The name of the song, Tracks in My Tears by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. He ended up doing that, performing that for her. It was so cute. And I was like, oh, I better do that. So while they were in the middle of the celebration, Brienne's brother Pete pops up. So I'm looking like, why is he in the flashback? Y'all, he'd have popped up at the house. The children looking like, and who are you? Like, they didn't know nothing about him. He was like, oh, I'm your Uncle Pete. And so they were like, we ain't got no uncle. My mom doesn't have any brothers or any siblings or something like that. I was like, oh my gosh. They don't even know they have an uncle out here in these streets. That is so crazy. So, people don't just do that for no reason. So, come on now. Stop acting like you don't know what it is, sir. All right, so, sorry about all the moving. What else happened? But you could tell, the parents, they were not here for him. I was like, dang, that's messed up because that's his brother-in-law. So I was like, well, dang, he ain't even here for you. So that's saying a lot, sir. All right, so anyway, Reggie is at Mom Mabel's her restaurant. I think I'm saying her name right. I hope I am. Mabel's. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That restaurant that JC works at. So he's there. It's Reggie, JT, and all these random goons or whatever. So Reggie is doing like he always does. And he was like, he look over and he see this guy. He over in a booth, look like he on a little date. He was like, oh, he got money to eat, but he ain't got my money to pay me. Oh, no. So then he get up and he run. He go over there, the dude realized what's popping off, and so the dude starts running. So basically, JT has always had this history with Reggie. Y'all, tell me why Mom Mabel can pull out a gun on JT, because everybody else ran out the back door because they were, he was chasing him. Reggie was chasing the guy. So Mom Mabel was able to get to her gun. She done set it all the way off. She said, "You gonna clean up this mess or I'm gonna call the police on you," or something like that. So pretty much that's how he ended up getting the job. He ended up cleaning up the mess that was made. And he's basically tried to be on the straight and narrow ever since. Because he's one of those people, he's kind of like one of my cousins. I have a cousin who, he is smart. He was, when he was in school, he was very smart and all that. And well on his way to an amazing future. Like, he could have been in the NFL, or he could have played baseball. Like, he was amazing. And you know what I'm saying? I'm not reading him if you ever figure out or ever watch this video or anything that I watch, which I doubt. I'm not trying to read him when I say all this, but he got caught up in the wrong crowd. You know what I'm saying? But this particular guy, I don't know why JT is hanging around this guy. Like, I mean, I guess because his father wasn't around. It's just like, sir. But yeah, so anyway. Don, they go back to showing Don Cornelius still being a beat cop. He was sitting out in the squad car talking to his partner, just shooting the breeze. And I'm just like, Lord, ain't nobody got time. They randomly go back and forth between him and Gerald. So Gerald is at that club or a club, and he is in lust, I'm going to say, with this woman whose name is Pearl. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. So anyway, they end up going back to Don Cornelius again. Don Cornelius is in the middle of talking to his coworker, his partner, and then he pulled a van over. So the man was speeding, I guess. And so he's talking to him. He was like, "Sir, you know how fast you were going?" And so the man was like, "Do you have a beautiful voice?" So Don Cornelius was like, "Well, I hope you don't think that bribing a police officer is going to get you off." He was like, "No, I think he said something about how he works at this TV station and he was looking for somebody like him with a voice like his, and if he ever wanted to do like certain work dealing with him, talking or whatever, to give him a call." He gave the man his card and all that stuff. He still got a ticket though. I was like, "Sir." So the woman who Gerald was making out with earlier turns out to be this woman. Like I said, her name is Pearl. I think they said her name was Pearl Maggie. And y'all, she went out. I mean, she could really sing. And I was like, wait a minute, I wonder if that's a real song, because it sounds like it might be a real song that I might have heard a long time ago, but it's an older song, but I don't know. But when she was in the middle of singing, Herschel, as you know, he had been at odds with him in the present, in their time. And since this is a flashback, all this whole show is a flashback, y'all. He ended up interrupting the performance and was like, "Y'all, this is a star is born." And then she ended up leaving with him. And Herschel was like, he basically was saying that he needed privacy, and it was understood that him and her was probably going to go back there and do some things or whatever. And so you could tell Gerald was in his feelings because she seemed like she was into him. So I was confused too. I was like, what is going on? Is she being a harlot for a job? Like, what is going on with that? So, and as I mentioned before in another video, that Herschel is being played by Clifton Powell. Y'all know Clifton Powell. If you don't know, everybody know him as Pinky from Friday, whatever Friday he was in when he was playing that. He played in so many movies, y'all. That man has so many things under his belt. TV shows, movies, all that stuff. So anyway, y'all, so the reason why Brienne's brother popped up was because he was talking about he needed some money and that they needed to come on here and come up off of it. And so they were like, we ain't got all that. What you talking about? He wrote up on it for $500. And I'm looking at him like, $500? And this was like, oh Lord, I guess like maybe 6-7 years ago. Since that was, like I said, that was Simone's birthday when she was turning 10 and she's like 17 now. So that was 6 or 7 years prior. And so she's in her feelings and she was like, I don't understand what you need all this for. What you gonna do, gamble it away? So he was like, look, all you need to know is, I remember about Foley, Alabama. When he said Foley, Alabama, I was like, what happened? What is going on here? What are you talking about? Y'all, turns out back in the day, I don't know if they were dating or if they were married yet, but Brienne's husband ended up beating this dude, some disrespectful white man, beat the boy, something terrible, to where he was almost gonna die, like beat him because he tried to rape her. So he was defending her honor and, just trying to make sure she didn't get raped. And, they were looking for him. So yeah, he was basically looking like, I could drop a dime on you, right? And the Foley, sheriff's department will be at your door in no time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go around here. He was telling me he was gonna go somewhere for a couple of days and he'll be back and hopefully they'll make the right choice. And I was just like, you are trash. Y'all, it was so bad. So it got to the point where he left and she was visibly upset and he was trying to console her. And it got to the point where he was like, look, I can go into our savings account. And she was just like, no, we don't need to go in our savings account. We don't have the money for none of this. And, then she got upset some more because it was a singing career that she never had yet again. She wanted to talk about that. And, I think that the situation that happened with that guy who he beat down, that kind of hindered it a little bit too. So people get handsy when they want what they want. So, so Gerald was having a little intimate moment with Pearl. And, he was like, well, do you ever think about getting away? And so she gonna make a little joke to myself. I get away. I go home every day. I leave this place every day. And so he was like, no, like really get away from here. And so whatever. She wasn't trying to hear all that. So Don Cornelius, he has worked his shift and he's gotten home. So he done got home and he want to try to play this little bad cop meets a woman in distress type of a vibe with his wife right when he walked in the door. And so his stepmama, I think it was stepmama. I don't know who she was. I don't know. It was his mama or his stepmama. Bust on in the house. I was like, didn't nobody knock or nothing. How dare you? Like, they was about to be in the middle of Mr. and Mrs. Nasty time. She done bust in the house talking about some, I need some money. And he was just like, you need to get out of my house. Like, you could tell there's bad blood. He don't want to hear nothing she talking about. Apparently, she's talking about she need $200 because his daddy is showing signs of getting Alzheimer's and all that. And like, she really came in unannounced. Like, that would get you shot. I'm surprised he didn't draw his gun on her. Like, she really tried it. She was so disrespectful. Like, he done went off on her. He done yelled at her and told her to get out the house and everything, y'all. It was a lot. So anyway, fast forward to Simone. Simone is in her room trying to sleep. Her daddy goes in and you know how some parents do. I know my parents did it. Came by to check and see, where you sleeping, what you doing. He could tell she was awake. And so she was like, I can't sleep. So she had like this little pen and pad under her covers with her. And she was writing down like little poems or whatever she wanted to say they were at the time. And he saw them and he was trying to get her to sing, but she was shy and she was like, I can't do it. I don't know what you're talking about. Like she was like really shy. Like from what we see currently versus her 6, 7 years ago. Like he pushed her to do these notes and all this other stuff, and then she belted out something to the point of where her mama rushed in and was like, "What was wrong? What happened? What's wrong?" And her daddy was like, "Nothing, nothing at all." I was like, "Oh my gosh," it was just too much. I live for it. You could tell that she was a daddy's girl. I love that because I'm a daddy's girl. So when I used to see their relationship unfold before he passed away, or when she would have her moments when she would just talk about him and her face would light up, I just think of me because that's how I am when it comes to my daddy. So I can fully relate. So JT is playing at this club, and he has this band behind him. He playing a set, and he's doing an original song. When he finished, there were people out in the crowd, and this one guy said, you know, that was great, and offered him $200. And he was like, oh, it's not for sale. And so it got to the point where dude was like, well, I'll give you $300, and that's my final offer. So ultimately, he ended up selling the song, y'all. I was just like, no, that's crazy. And I mean, it's all because the guy said that he doesn't sign kids. And I'm like, dang, that's messed up. Like, JT can sing. So yeah, that's just a shame. So Gerald was talking to this guy that Herschel ended up hemming up one day. Like, he really did hem that dude up something terrible. He was talking to the dude, and the dude randomly was like, well, don't you want to take over this club? And Gerald was like, well, no, I'm going to have my own club someday. And then somebody came and busted him in the head from behind. We couldn't see who it was, but when he came to, Herschel was standing over him with a gun, just, you know, in his hand. And Gerald was looking like, okay, well, what happened? And he was like, you tell me. And everything had been cleaned out. And Herschel was like, don't nobody got the combination but me and you. So I was like, oh my gosh. So it got to the point where Gerald was like, look, I'm going to find a way. I don't know how. I'm going to find out who did it. I'm going to get your money back. He was like, you can either kill me or you can let me try to get your money back. So, you know, he basically, you know, didn't kill him, as we see 7 years later, 6, 7 years later. And yeah, y'all, it's a lot. Y'all will see in a minute. So Pete ended up showing back up at the house. He gonna bust his house. Hey, y'all, where my niece and nephew at? Trying to act like he the model uncle. It's like, if you don't get somewhere and sit down, y'all, wasn't nobody here for it. His sister was like, they ain't here. I made sure they weren't here for that, because that ain't what this is going to be about. We just want to get this over and done with. So what they did was they presented him with some kind of paperwork. I guess it was the last will and testament or whatever from their mother. Their mother left everything to her. He sat up there and took everything and gambled everything away and used up any money that was supposed to be for her. And so, you know, her husband was able to get all that information because she didn't even know about any of this stuff because he hid it. So he was like, well, you know, since I'm in the military, I have connections, and that's how I was able to get this information. That's how we know what it is now. So they are thinking that, you know, they had the upper hand because they brought this information to him. He was like, yeah, okay, whatever. You can't, I don't want to hear nothing you got to say. I was the one that was there with mama. I was the one holding her hand. I was the one there with her when she was sick. So I was like, oh, Lord, it was doing the most. So he felt like he deserved everything. So it was not even up for discussion for him anyway. So, y'all, so just as a backup, they had the money in hand anyway. And Brienne said, if you take this money, you are dead to me. And, you know, that was just what it was going to be. So it got to the point where he was just like, yeah, so what I'm going to do is take this money and go about my business. You gonna see it's not what you think it is, because all he seems to do is gamble away everything. And he had told her that he was trying to get this joint or some kind of club up and running, and he needed the money for that. All he needed was that $500 to do it. and it was going to be successful. One day she was going to see. She wasn't here for it. She didn't want to hear what he was talking about. So, yeah. I already told y'all about everything that happened with Herschel. JT's mama was meeting this man. Mind y'all, y'all know she's an addict, right? I was confused. I had to, really, really pay attention. I was like, wait a minute, is that his mama? She looked like an actual mother. She didn't look like a strung out junkie. She didn't look raggedy. She really looked like somewhat of a separate mom, a separate wife. I was just like, what is going on right here? So apparently even though she looked really, really amazing, she looked clean, she still had a history even before then of drug use. So she looked like she was meeting her drug dealer at the house. And JT went off and he was like, you said you were going to stay clean, all this other stuff. And so she was like, look, baby, I did. It's not what you think. And I was just like, oh, Lord. So he done pried her hand open. And she had a car key in her hand. So the car that we see him with now is the car that she gave him for graduation because he was about to graduate from college. Y'all, he was so happy. It went outside and she was like, you gotta clean it up, but it's nice, it runs, whatever. And he was like, we can't afford this. And I was just like, oh my God, y'all, I was so happy. I was like, yes, y'all better do that. So anyway, Don and his wife are at Soul Train, and this is before national syndication happened, because when I saw her running around, I had to think about it. I was like, wait a minute, this was before national syndication, because as of right now, she ain't even been really there. She barely been to the new studios. So she was running around like a chicken with his head cut off and making sure everybody was where they're supposed to be and informing him of stuff. And, his old cop buddy showed up with a big old bag of blow. And I was just like, sir, if you don't get somewhere and sit down, just stop it. Stop. So what happened was she ended up telling him that he was going to have to introduce the next group of people that were going to be coming up there, which were the Emotions, y'all. So I was like, yes, you better do that. They did an amazing job, of course. What I did neglect to mention was when Herschel showed up and he saw everything was gone, a club can't run without money. So he ended up telling Gerald to shut it down. So with this next scene, Pearl popped up in the scene and she was like, yeah, sure, I'm going to miss this place. And so, then she gonna try to say something about, didn't you say you want to go away? Let's go away and all this other stuff. Y'all, come to find out, she the one who stole the money and had the setup. And she was like, well, I had to make it look like it was real. I was like, girl, that man almost got killed because of you. Like, Herschel was about to kill him for real. Don't nobody play by their money. I'm shocked he didn't kill him. I'm shocked they didn't even shoot him in the kneecap or something. I was expecting that, or shot in the foot. So, y'all, she was doing the most, y'all. She was trying to sell him these whack dreams. I wouldn't want her no way. She is a pass around, and you could tell. So, she's one of those people that when she drinks a lot, or I don't know if she had done some drugs, but anyway, she sat up there, had a cigarette in her hand, and was talking, and then she drifted off and went to sleep, had a cigarette in her hand still. Y'all, tell me why Gerald took that cigarette out of her hand, took a puff of it, and politely flicked it over the bar and set it on fire while that woman was sitting there. So the woman got bun up. Yeah, where I'm from, we said bun up. The woman got bun up in the building. I think it's called a 100 Proof Club or something like that. And yeah, ended up burning it down. And that same night is when Dr. Martin Luther King was killed at the Lorraine Hotel. And I don't know why I kept forgetting all this started in Memphis. So that's actually where they were. And that's how everybody's connection was. And it's funny because it still stayed that way even when everybody started moving to California. So As the building was burning down, Herschel was outside, and I don't know if Gerald called him or what, but Gerald walked outside with the bags of cash, and he ended up telling him, like, look, this is what I'm gonna do. He was like, well, what you want to do? Like, you said you wanted to do a club, you know. And he basically was like, we just gonna take all this and go, you know, elsewhere, which was California. And I was like, Lord, y'all was doing the most. So I can't. So they burned it down. They was gonna be able to start over with a club somewhere else. So Encore, present day. Encore recorded their song, and JT was able to show up and do his part. And it ended up being that song that I told you seemed like it was going to be amazing that day. I think the last episode, he was singing this song about parents and all this other stuff. Y'all, that song was amazing. The way they had it to come together, it was really good. But he did make it. He was able to do his part, so I was glad about that. Y'all, they did so great. The engineer was in there. The engineer was up in there getting his entire life. I was like, yeah. Because he was sitting there, this was, well, y'all do what y'all want to do, when they didn't know if JT was going to show up, you know. But Gerald ended up coming in the room where the engineer was. He heard them, and he was like, Y'all, Gerald set it all the way off and was like, yeah. So, I want to know, are y'all going to open for me? You know, are y'all interested in opening for me? And he asked Simone how old she was. She said, how old you need me to be? I was like, girl, Simone don't be caring. She be trying to sing. I'm just like, girl. So the act that they were going to be opening up for was Ike and Tina Turner, baby. So they ended up going well, and they ended up trying to do this like little celebratory dinner, lunch, or whatever it was. And Kendall was like, well, I'm gonna go call Flo or whatever he was gonna do with Flo, because he's still trying to make that a thing. I'm not here for it. She might be able to change, but I ain't here for it. But that's when JT was talking to Simone one-on-one, because they are still indeed a couple. And so he was like, you know, we could start over. We could do this, that, and the other. And we can get married and all this other stuff. And so she was like, what are you talking about? So y'all, that's all that happened with that episode. I think that was a really good episode. So I'm thinking it's going to get back to business as usual next week, or whenever it's gonna come back on. But I still like this show. I do still plan on doing the Boomerang reviews. But yeah, I done got behind. It's just so many good shows. Y'all don't be understanding. There's so many good shows out here. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed the review. Let me know down in the comment section if you did. Go ahead and like this if you want to. Subscribe if you want to. Anyway, y'all have a good evening, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.